you're leading yourself. You're a strong me leader. I asked you your leadership effectiveness of others. So I would rank you a 1 or 2 with others and a 9 or 10 with yourself. But if you're going to build a massive team, you cannot say you're a 9 or an 8 leader where you have no one you're leading directly responsible for you.
The whole purpose of this show is to engage with business owners and be able to answer questions for people that will give them some insight and perspective on how to grow and scale a business. Not only leadership, but real life examples. This is the golden moment. I would do business with you right now.
There's so many great events that we put on, Brandon. I mean, we just wrapped up here in the Scottsdale headquarters. We wrapped up a pitch event.
Yeah, we had an amazing group of people out here learning how to most effectively present their value proposition or whatever it is they're trying to do, raise capital in some cases.
I had a few meetings when the pitch was going on, and there were some entrepreneurs in the building, and they said, "What's this event?" And I said, "This is a 10X pitch event." And it's funny, the first thing everyone thinks of when you say pitch event, they always think, oh, how to pitch your customers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's so much more than that.
It's so much more than that. You know, so here's the thing. Welcome everybody to another fabulous Tuesday night. We're excited to have everybody on here. We have a big event this weekend. We'll have 2 different groups. We have a 10X 360 group. We'll have about, 50 or 60 people at that. And then we have another 150 people coming in for our Essentials program. So we've got a lot of activity happening at our new headquarters in Scottsdale, Arizona.
I'd love to see how close you are to this facility. If you are anywhere near Arizona, put in the chat where you're at, West Coast, East Coast, around the world. Where are you from tonight on Owners Live? I see a lot of new faces. I see a lot of familiar faces. But to Brandon's point, we've got a 10X 360 coming up. We've got our Marketing Essentials Workshop, People Essentials Workshop, Finance Essentials Workshop, all happening here in this beautiful new Scottsdale state-of-the-art facility. And we would love to have you stop by. I see some Florida, some Dallas, Texas, Pittsburgh, PA. You got the 412 in the house tonight. Let's see, Toronto. Many of you, Oregon, an easy trip to Scottsdale.
Who doesn't want to come from Oregon to Scottsdale?
Right now, it's 51 degrees.
I don't want to go back to Washington State.
So we're going to continue the Perfect Hire series. How many of you have been participating the last 5 weeks in our Perfect Hire series? Say 10X in the chat if you've been a part of this series and you're ready for the next continuation here. Tonight, we're talking about culture in your organization and how to leverage the culture to promote it to attract the perfect hire in. Now, you talked last week about painting big visions to attract.
Yeah.
You need both
it's the same what we teach in 10X Pitch. Look, if you're talking about something small, I just want everybody to understand, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're talking about small things, you're going to get small results. Expansion comes when people can see themselves succeed. And your job as a business owner, entrepreneur, is to create expansion. If you want a vendor to sell you Holly Boot Boss, if you want a vendor to sell you and be excited about doing a deal with you, you need a big vision. If anybody's talking about ordering 1 of something or 10 of something, it's small. So you're not going to get the mind share. Now, you may be sitting here saying, but I could only order 10 right now. I don't have the money to order 100, but you should be talking about the 100 and then selling the vendor on, you got to get me the first 10 now. In fact, this is what we did with Fuzzletube. I said, look, we need to get 10, not at the price of 100. Tell the vendor they need to step up in order to give us the resources to create business for both of us.
That's right.
But we didn't talk about 100. We talked about 10,000. But the 10,000 came down to, we can't do the 10,000 if you can't give me the first 10.
That's so true.
I have to have it in my hand to show people. So the idea here is it's the same thing with the perfect hire. If you want to hire somebody, talking to somebody about, hey, you need to sit in front of the desk and answer that phone for 8 hours a day is not going to get you the perfect hire. if you talk about the fact that today I need someone to sit and answer that phone so they can learn how to help me build a business, that then they can have 100 people answering phones, reporting to them the way we proved it out together. But we got to start today by answering the phone. So you're always selling the bigger picture. Small thinking and small talking gets people that have small expectations.
Man, that's so true. It's funny because Natalie was on just 2 weeks ago and she talked about the fact the reason these owners won't talk about big things is because they don't have big things yet. And what you're saying is put yourself in the mindset of that you've already obtained those things and that you're already talking as if those things are happening.
Yeah, because here's the thing. You don't have big things. See, remember, all activity follows belief. So when you're in a struggle mindset because everything's hard right now, you're talking about right now and you're trying to fix things right now.
Who can relate in the chat? If that's, just be honest, let's be transparent. How many of you are, I see a few heads nodding right now. If that's you right now, you're in a struggle, say yes in the chat. It's so easy to get caught into that dilemma where you're in the now, you're in the present.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a struggle mindset right now. I'm being fully transparent. So I'm in a struggle mindset. Why? Because when I open my calendar up, I have 40 or 50 things every single day because of Amanda.
It's your fault, Amanda. We see you on there.
Amanda is causing my struggle mindset. But you know why? I look at my calendar, I'm like, I don't have time to breathe. And Amanda sends me a text 2 minutes before every time I'm supposed to do something.
Yep.
So it's like sitting at the traffic light in a hurry to go somewhere, but you're stuck on a red light.
Yeah.
That's what causes my struggle mindset, because I'm losing the capacity to innovate or to create new relationships because I'm doing so much with what we have.
Yeah.
But can I tell you something? I'd rather have that struggle mindset than sitting my ass in my office with nobody to talk to.
That's true. Amanda listens to Grant. Grant says an empty calendar is the devil.
So here's the thing. If you really want struggle, then put so much on your plate that you're overwhelmed with how much you have to do. But you know, so many business owners put non-essential things on their plate.
Right.
Or they put non-value creation things on their plate. You want to struggle, if business is slow today and you want to have a struggle, put 250 names on your calendar that you're going to call tomorrow to get a deal done.
That's right.
Because that's going to overwhelm you, because that's a lot of activity. But at the end of the day, you're going to be like, I cannot believe I got through all that and I picked up a handful of things that I didn't have the day before. So like, to me, I'm struggling because Natalie said to me last night at 10:30 at night, you're going to do my Pilates class at 6 a.m. So I had to get my ass out of bed at 5 a.m. to go crush my ass at a Pilates class.
Is he bragging or complaining, guys?
I'm complaining because it hurts. But here's the thing. It feels good to know I did it. And it inspires me to think about maybe tomorrow morning going and doing it again.
There we go.
So you got to put yourself in a position where you feel overwhelmed. And here's the conversation that you have to have with your team. You have to tell your team that's how it works. We had our grand opening here where I talked to the whole team, 45 employees in Scottsdale. Mm-hmm. I'm like, look, I just want to make sure. A lot of these people, I've never personally met them.
We've been on Zoom since COVID.
We've been on Zoom, yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are new. Mm-hmm. So this is our first physical interaction. And I'm telling them, hey, let me be clear. I ain't your boss. I'm not going to police you. I'm not here to coddle you. I'm here to stretch your rubber band until it almost breaks, because I'm assuming that if you went to work for this organization, you have big ass goals that you want to accomplish. It's my job to push you to be able to accomplish those goals. It's your job, just like a pro athlete. If they're half-assing it on the practice field, they ain't starting in the game.
Shows in the results.
That's right. So our employees here are players in the game. Do they want to be superstars? Do they want to be on a national championship team? Or do they want to be sitting on the bench? And the reason I bring this up is because when you create that culture of excellence and you've got to lead from the front, I would challenge that people don't work more hours than I do. I know Buck's hours, you're everywhere. You guys, if you're watching Instagram or you're watching videos where we're doing, he's everywhere all day long as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you want that visibility for your team. And we're going to be talking about all of this at the Perfect Hire because so many of you struggle. Now, if you're a business owner, you're struggling to bring a high performance team into your business. I know this because I'm a business owner and I struggle to have a high performance team actively engaged every day. Anybody who says they're not is a liar because it's hard to constantly inspire people to be at their best all the time. I know how hard that is. It's hard for me to be at my best all the time. So the reason I bring this up is if you guys want to create a massive high performance team, then you have to be actively engaged with your team and showing them and leading them from the front. If you're a team member right now and you're on here and you're like, man, I want to be part of a high performance team, you need to opt into that community. You need to go find it and get yourself in play and contribute inside of it because a high performance team only exists when people have the desire to win a championship game. And if you're on a losing team that doesn't care if they win a championship game, but you're the best player, you can have that bragging right and feel good about it, but it still ain't taking you anywhere in a big way because you're the best player on a losing team. So your job, if you're on not a high performance team, is to go find one. And if you're a business owner, you want those people, you need to attract them. And that's what we're going to be teaching at the Perfect Hire program coming up here
December 12th.
in December 12th.
Yep, in Aventura, Florida.
In Aventura.
How many of you are coming to the Perfect Hire Summit? How many of you are going to be there? Oh, I see Elizabeth is going to be there. April is going to be there. Put in the chat. Go ahead and put in the chat. Me, Lori says she'll be there. So if you are just joining us and you've missed this opportunity, this is going to be one of your last chances to join us in person at the one day. It's in person in Aventura Perfect Hire Summit. So we're going to be going through all these details of how to attract those high performers, bring them into your organization and build a culture
Is
around
it our
it.
last event for the year too?
This is going to be our last
You know,
our last summit of the
this is, I think this is our last big get together outside. We have the real estate program.
That's right.
With Grant the day after the Perfect Hire Day. So, hey, if you want to set yourself up, I'm just going to say this out loud. Okay. This is my inside voice coming out loud. If you want to set yourself up for a remarkable 2022, can you believe?
No, it's not like
it's like a movie or something.
Yeah.
If you want to set yourself up, you should come to this Perfect Hire and stay for the 3-day real estate program because that real estate program breaks down how you need to take active income and convert it to passive income. Now, you may ask yourself the question, what does that have to do with the Perfect Hire? And I'm going to tell you, it has everything to do with the Perfect Hire. In Cardone Ventures, just like Audigy Group, I paid myself a small salary. And I considered anything over that salary as passive income because it was based on the efforts of other people building the business. If you want to learn to take active income and convert it to passive income, you're going to need to learn the technical skill set to do it in the business by finding and attracting and aligning and inspiring and getting results with people. As you get more people, it spins off more profitability, which then converts to passive income, which then you put into real estate with Uncle G. In fact, I'm going to tell you in Arizona, I sent him a thing. This multifamily organization spent $253 million or $238 million 3 years ago for assets in Scottsdale. 3 years later, they just announced they sold it for 256 million. None of the assets that they sold in that package are anywhere remotely as unbelievable as what Grant Cardone has assembled in his portfolio. So if you want to learn how to take active income, convert it to passive income, and get that working for you with someone that knows how to buy real estate, get to the Perfect Hire program and then stay over and spend the 3 days with us in the real estate program.
All right, Russ is asking for prices. Russ, if you want to know, click that link.
For you, Russ, it's $100,000 right now.
CardoneVentures.com/hire. CardoneVentures.com/hire. Also, Bryce, will you do the QR code real quick for anybody that wants it? If you want just an easy way to get to the Perfect Hire, it's just $997. You're going to get the Perfect Hire in person December 12th, the employee engagement equation, and then a 4-week live mentor training from Brandon Dawson, Natalie Dawson. In fact, scan this QR code right now because this is breaking news. The first live mentor training is tomorrow. So you literally hit the ground running tomorrow if you sign up today. You don't want to miss the first live training. So if you've been thinking about this and you want to come to the Perfect Hire Summit, you want to be able to attract and bring in that high talent, tonight is the night to make the commitment to yourself, make the commitment to your business, and to Brandon's point, make the commitment to do something truly remarkable in 2022. And this is the perfect way to start. So scan that QR code, the Perfect Hire Value System 997, and we'd love to meet you in person. So question for you, Brandon, and by the way, if you're new here, I want you to click on reactions and raise your hand if you have a question. Click on reactions. We're going to answer questions here if you have people problems, engagement problems, high performance problems in your business. You don't know how to scale and make that passive income through your employees. Click reactions, raise the hand. I see the hands are already going up. I'm telling you now, if you're brand new and we've never talked to you before, you're getting your question answered first. So reactions, raise the hand. Here's a question for you. How does someone know whether or not they truly have a good culture or have a bad culture? How would you gauge the success of a culture?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, is your team dragging you along? Are they so inspired? Are they so pumped up? Are they hitting your goals? The only way you know if you have a great culture is if you're hitting your targets. And if your targets are big.
Wow.
If you have low targets, you don't have a great culture. So look, we're going to grow at 10% next year. That ain't a great culture. That's by definition average. So if you're like, we're going to grow at 30 to 50% next year, that means your team has to push. You guys have to strive. That's a winning culture. You cannot be a championship team hitting averages. You can only do it by being above average in the highest percentile of success. So like Cardone Ventures, you know, the first 6 months we were in business, we did 2.5 million. I set a target for 15 million the first full year in business. How many of you have been in business for 10 years or 20 years and you haven't even done $10 million? So like to me, 10 million is like, I should be able to do that by myself, right? So we did 14.5 million in our first full year, and we're going to do almost 40 million this year.
Wow.
So our second full year, we're hitting 40 million. I feel like we should be at 50. We underperformed, but I can only stretch so far with the team because 60% of our team are new in the last 6 months. They got to acclimate up. So I'm frustrated. I'm a frustrated entrepreneur. Next year, our target's 60 million bucks. So we got a lot of work to do. And I think that that's where you know if you've got a great culture is when everyone's like, make it bigger. Let's go after it. But if you set the target so high that you can't achieve it, you'll reduce the ambition and the enthusiasm from your culture. So you got to be sophisticated, and you got to set, like for me, I'm on a race to 100 million. So I had from dead start to 60 months, the goal of 100 million. Why? Because at 100 million, I know that we're going to have enough key employees, key managers, key partners that we can go from 100 million and do a sprint to $1 billion. I cannot go from 0 to $1 billion if I don't have team members that are aligned, that understand how we operate, and that we've built the systems around, or we break.
How many of you would choke if you thought your goal was 100 million? How many of you heard him say he's taken us to 100 million and you gasped? You're like, wow.
Yeah, in 60 months.
Like you're thinking,
not in 10 or 20 years.
you're thinking small, right? And then he says 100 million is just, that's the beginning of the strategy. That's not even getting to the goal. That's what you need in order to get to the billion. Is you
Yeah,
gotta have the
because
100.
for me, look how I do the math. Rule of three. 200, using the rule of three,
Get your calculator.
200 people means I have about 65 leaders using the rule of three. And then the rule of three into 65 by 1/3 is 22 or 21
Right.
executives. And then senior executives, rule of three, would be 7. So I need to have an executive team that's fully aligned, CMO, CFO, EVP of operations, COO, business transformation, did I say marketing? I said CMO. Of SBU operations, of learning and development, and then of compliance and HR. Okay, there's 7 executives. I already have 6 of them. And we have a team of almost 80 right now. I know I need to get that 80 to multiply to 200. And I know that my target that we do not compromise is $500,000 of revenue per employee. So just do the math. At 100 million, I have 200 employees. At 200 employees, I have 60 leaders. I have 22 executives, and I have basically 7 EVP executives or C-suites. So that positions, sorry, I forgot the CTO, Chief Technology Officer. So there's the 7 plus me. So using the rule of three, I know what I'm building. I know what they need to generate in revenue as an organization. And that positions us to go from 100 million to 1 billion. And so all you have to do is test that and say, okay, do we believe them? So now credibility is critically important. Why do I bring that up? Confidence increases, or credibility increases confidence. So while you're trying to recruit the perfect hire, if you're sitting there saying, we're going to go to 10, we're going to go to 10 million, we're going to go to 10 million, and you're at 1 million, 1 million, 1 million, 1 million, 1 million, you aren't working harder. You're not going to events to increase your knowledge. You're not pressing yourself and trying to bring new people in to help you grow. You're not innovating the business. Low belief about what's possible, good people leave. So you got to understand it's 5 steps to have the perfect hire. Find, attract, align, develop, and retain. This is what we're going to cover, exactly how to do this and keep your employees to the cycle. You know what? Natalie's book came out today.
That's right.
I cannot wait for everybody that's going to be there to get a copy of her book.
It's called Teamwork. It's a
Teamwork.
fantastic new book.
It's unbelievable. It talks about these principles. We're going to show you exactly how to. I'm so proud of her too, because she worked hard on that. All right, so let's open it up for questions.
Let's go to Nathan first. I think Nathan's been patient. He wants to know who's got his money. By the way, context and contrast, while they unmute Nathan, you're over here talking about strategically, you know exactly who to hire, when to hire, how to hire them, and you have it all built out. Usually the first question we get when we talk about finding the perfect hire is, I don't know who to hire next, like the very next hire, much less down a year or 2 years or 3 years. So Nathan, go ahead. What's the best question you could ask Brandon Dawson right now?
Are you hiring, and how soon?
You're on. Say it again.
Did you hear me? I said, are you hiring, and how soon?
Oh, are you hiring?
We're hiring every day.
Yes.
We interview. I'll bet Gabby interviews 15 people a day.
At least. I think I interview 15 a day. It feels like
so we're announcing. We announced that we acquired 10X Health, or we acquired a business that we're creating 10X Health system. That business, we're looking actively for 6 to 10 physicians assistants or nurses in Scottsdale right now and in the Miami area.
Project managers, designers,
sales, business development team members. We're looking for
Strategic business
finance
unit.
team members in the
How about
strategic
leaders?
Well,
People that inspire the others around them. Also connects to. I also with the Cardone Health. It's funny. I just joined the accelerator program, man. And it's completely changed my life.
Nathan, next Tuesday we're going to talk about the hardest and best quality questions you could ask in an interview. You should interview Nathan next Tuesday. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Nathan, come on next Tuesday and we'll do a live
let me tell you, Nathan, this is what happens when someone asks me about a leadership position. And my buddy Mike Callan's going to be following me around, I think, tomorrow. So he might actually see some of this. I think, is it tomorrow he's here or Thursday? But nonetheless, let me ask you, Nathan, when you say hiring leaders, do you consider on a scale of 1 to 10, 1, not a formidable experienced leader, 10, unbelievably experienced leader, where would you rank your leadership of other people?
Of other people?
Yeah.
Of other people. Depends on the person. I mean, like my leadership, like to lead others?
Your leadership effectiveness of other people.
I would say definitely between 8 or 9. I've been a leader since I was 6 or 7 years old. My father taught me to always be a leader, never a follower.
Okay, that's awesome. So how many people are you leading right now in your own organization?
So I'm actually a solopreneur, but I've got this right here. I was the first person ever in my company to hit it. Right after I hit it, 4 people saw the dedication and commitment that it took for me to get this, and they went on to hit it right shortly thereafter.
Yeah. So here's the thing, Nathan. See, we measure leadership differently. So you're leading yourself. You're a strong me leader. I asked you your leadership effectiveness of others. So I would rank you a 1 or 2 with others and a 9 or 10 with yourself. But if you're going to build a massive team, you cannot say you're a 9 or an 8 leader where you have no one you're leading directly responsible for you.
I've actually, yes, of course. And I've actually been a poker manager before where I've, had to lead a team of, 50 employees, 500-600 customers. And I've also actually, I had an opportunity to be a leader in the organization that I'm in now, but due to personal reasons, I did have to step away. So I am a leader every single day. People come to me and I teach them.
I'm not challenging. I'm not putting you on the spot, but look, I've got tens of thousands of people that I'm responsible for between all my companies. I'm still responsible. I still take their calls. I still nurture them. I still develop them. It's like the pastor that has a congregation of 50 versus the one that has 5,000. The one that has 50 can't rank themselves a 9 or 10 as a leader because they only have 50. Leadership is measured across the totality of impact. Okay. Now you have different kinds of leadership. You have me leadership. Well, most people don't even have strong me leadership. They're not producing the number one result. They're not challenging themselves. They're not pushing themselves to be bigger, better, more impactful. But then when you start running teams, and anybody who's an 8 or 9 leader would never work by themselves because they would recognize there's zero power in working by yourself. There's only power through others. That's the multiplier. So strong we leaders will always be leading lots of people. They'll never be doing anything by themselves because they recognize it's a waste of energy. And so I bring this up to you because you have 3 different leadership positions though. You have, so what I would say is with you, you're a high me leader.
You guys taking notes?
A high me leader, and you're a high operational effectiveness leader. So there's 3 leadership positions: belief, operational effectiveness, and leadership. And when you think about that, you got me leadership and we leadership. Well, if you have super high belief about what's possible, like a 9 or a 10, you cannot say you're a high leader if you're a power of 1 because your actions follow your belief. So if you believe you have the capacity to do massive impact, the only way that's measured, that high belief, is if you're actually generating the energy through others to pursue it. And
That's why I asked when you were hiring.
Yeah, but that's different. That's different.
So let me ask a question real quick. Nathan, would you be willing next Tuesday, send us your resume, do a live interview with Brandon and Natalie next Tuesday? Would
You have to sign a waiver though.
Yeah.
It'll be like made for TV interview.
Yeah. Would you be willing to role play that?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even created
Okay.
I mean, I don't even have a resume. I've just walked. I've never
How
not
many
walked
of
into a
you-
place and got a job.
How many of you believe we should give Nathan the opportunity to do that? Put in the chat. We're
But it
doing a
can't be a
vote.
real interview because we have all these
A
rules
role
around it.
play interview. Listen to what I'm saying. Role play interview. How many of you think yes or no? Did we? Okay. All right,
Nathan, it
Nathan.
looks like we're connected, buddy.
Nathan, email me,
Love
buck@cardonventures.com. Buck@cardonventures.com.
But we can't do a real interview.
No, it's a
because
role
I
play
can't.
interview.
Role play.
Role play.
It's not interview. It's a role play.
It's a role play.
as though we're interviewing.
As
because
though
I
we are.
can't legally ask.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah,
and,
role
and,
play.
and by the way,
Gotcha.
can let's jump over to Michael for the next question. Nathan, thank you for
Thank you,
coming to
gentlemen.
Owners Live.
Thanks, Nathan.
Before
you.
Michael comes up, I want to give a little context contrast as well. Something that I fell victim to as well is, and I hear Nathan doing it, and I hear other people do it. When I came from the world's largest agency, I told Brandon, I'm a great leader. My last team, I had 22 employees. And what we do is we think the more people that report to us, the better of a leader that we were. I right now have 12 people report to me. I'd rate myself as a 2 as a leader, knowing Brandon's expectations and outline of what makes a great leader. And it wasn't until 2.5, 3 years ago that I really realized a great leader is making others' success easy. And so if I have the self-reflection to know, am I able to do that? I'm like a 2.5, maybe 3, barely. And
he's come in and he said to me, man, I got to retool my whole thinking around what impactful true leadership is.
Right.
Because until he has now he's been leading our clients. So he has responsibility for thousands of people. But that's not what he's talking about. He's thinking like I can help people. I can lead them into making behavioral changes and structural changes. But I recognize I'm not spending my energy trying to figure out how to make everybody else's life easy so they can succeed.
That's right.
And so when he goes back and assesses how he's leading today versus what it was like in the past,
Right.
then he goes, I was like a 2.
Oh,
leader,
man.
even though I thought, because he was a positional leader.
That's right.
See, leadership can be defined by many different ways, but when you're a positional leader, which means you have the authority or hierarchical authority over people, that does not mean you're a leader.
Definitely not.
It means you're in charge, but it doesn't make you a leader.
All right.
So Michael, how you doing, buddy?
Fantastic. How are you guys doing?
I can't wait to see you this week.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Nice. Very cool. What's your question, Michael?
Question is, if you have team members who are very good at their job, but they do not like you've stretched them, you've tried to stretch them, they just resist it, but they're good at the core things that they do. Do you have people in the organization that will that's all that they're going to be good at those core things, and they're not going to go up the scale, or how do you handle that?
So I want to be clear. Yeah. So I want to be clear about something. Look, not everybody wants the massive obligation of being a very effective leader running teams of people. Some people want to be a leader in the technical aspect of what they do. They want to be like the best at building websites. So they want to be the best at programming technology.
Like a flawless executor?
Yeah. So remember, there's 3 leadership lids. You have the belief lid. Somebody has to have a high. It takes a strong leader to have a big belief, because they're going to get kinks in the armor. People are going to shoot at them, say they're dumb, or say they're crazy, or say they're whatever. So to be a high belief person, you have to have strong leadership capabilities and fortitude. Then you have the operational effectiveness leader, somebody who's unbelievably remarkable at what you do and owns the operational effectiveness. And then you have the me leader. You have the person that wants to be a strong contributing individual into an organization and perform at the highest level possible. Then you have the we leader, somebody who wants to be an example and develop others and make their success easy. So Michael, you got to decide like where these people fit into the spectrum. And not everybody wants to be an 8 or 9 in any of those leadership categories. Some people want to just enjoy what they do, enjoy who they do it with, contribute at a reasonable level, and enjoy life. And there's no judgment there. But the thing is,
say you need people that are like
you
that?
need people like that because if you look at the number of people working in the workforce, not everyone is driven in the top 10 percentile of wanting to conquer the world.
Right.
So you need people in that 50th percentile, but you don't want people in the 30th and 20th because that means their energy isn't being carried into the business. So I always go through and look at our team members and I go, okay, belief on a scale of 1 to 10. Who wants to work with somebody and who's really a good contributor if they have a 2 belief about what you do? Like all energy follows belief.
Yeah.
So low belief people, I get rid of them. And you see that in the low operational effectiveness. People that are like, whatever, I'll make my calls. I'll maybe show up
Right.
on time.
By the way, we'll find exactly who that is in your organization at the Perfect Hire.
We're going to
Summit.
teach you how to identify it like that.
That's right. In fact, this is your pass right here to the Perfect Hire Summit. So if you have not hit that link yet, Enrique is going to put it in right now, cardinventures.com/hire. Click the link. And there's the QR code too. If you haven't scanned it, we want to teach you exactly how to find the low performers, the drainers, the ones with the lowest vision that don't have the belief, that aren't going in the direction that you're going.
Yeah, and most likely, your culture created some of that. So instead of taking it out on your people, strong leaders recognize they contributed it into their culture and environment, and you need to fix that before you take it out on your people. So the thing is that it's like first analysis is look inside your organization, and if you see things you don't like inside of it, the first reality is you injected it. If you're the leader, you put it in there. So you can't take it out on your team. You can't be a victim of your own circumstance. You have to decide to change that. And that's where you need to work on your leadership, and your team will see you doing that. And then you can be an example as you gain traction to other people.
Awesome. Hey, the question came in. Tomorrow is the first coaching call. If you're part of this, if you're part of the Perfect Hire value system, it starts at 5:30 Eastern time tomorrow. So if you have not signed up yet, tomorrow, 5:30 Eastern, we're going to kick off the whole 4-week series of coaching calls. It's going to be an intimate group. So
I
you're
want to answer this question. What's the difference between this and the people event? Look, there's five different, it's funny because I was with the market development, Josh and his team this morning, and they were like, people aren't going to ask that question.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
And then there's the first question.
Yeah.
So if you think of the Perfect Hire, we're going to go over, there's 5 different elements to having a successful engagement with a team member. 1, you got to be able to find. 2, you got to be able to attract.
That's right.
Like if you can't attract high talented people, they ain't coming to you. Then when you do attract them, you need to be able to develop them or align them, develop them, and retain them. Keep them.
Right.
When
Enrique's got it in there.
When you think, thank you, Enrique. When you think about the Perfect Hire, we're really going to cover finding and attracting.
That's right.
The essentials, people essentials, goes really super deep in aligning, retaining, and developing key people, or aligning, developing, and retaining people long term. So the essentials program goes into that. So this is a precursor to going deeper into the essentials program. And it's a lot of new content because we spent the last 3 months with Grant, with Sherry,
That's right.
with Jared, with Elena, with my executive team here, identifying the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats organizationally across all the Cardone family businesses, and how we've been able to identify our top talent. And we created this program based on that. So it's a combination of all the successful cycles of action that we take organizationally under Grant Cardone for all of our different organizations. And we're going to have our thought leaders that are there to talk about this. So it's going to be an amazing day.
I have two very simple questions, and I want you to follow instructions carefully. Number one, answer this question in the chat. What is the number one hire that you want to make in 2022? If you can only have one, what is the one hire? This is the first question. It's going to be a guaranteed perfect hire.
CFO, GM,
PM, project
PM,
manager, sales, marketing,
physical therapist. Okay, so
estimator.
let me just tell you guys, okay, I'm looking at this. So I know some of you, I won't call you out, but I know some of you, when you put CFO or you put COO,
What do they really mean?
you better have businesses that are 35 million to 50 million, because if you're even talking about C-suite executives and you're under 35, 40 million, then you don't know what you're talking about. So you need if you're a 2 million or a 1 million, you need a bookkeeper. If you're 3 to 5 million, you need a controller. If you're 25 to 50 million, you need a CFO. Just like, come over here.
Get in here, Natalie. Do not try to sneak out of the building.
Get over here. Look at, I have a BFF. That's what I'd put in there.
What is a BFF?
Best friend forever.
Best friend forever, right
My
here.
God.
Say hi to everybody, babe.
Hi, guys.
She's trying
He
to
was
sneak
trying to
out.
sneak out underneath the cameras.
Somebody has to run the business while these two are up here chatting.
Hooting and
with all
hollering.
you guys.
Yeah.
They even hear me.
Yeah, they can.
Oh yeah, they
Yeah,
can hear
I'm
you.
sure
All right,
they can.
baby. I know you got important things to go do.
I do, but you guys look great on this.
Guys,
Tuesday night.
I told him your book's out. Your new book's out.
Follow.
How excited are you about your book? Can I get a high five? Excitement?
You guys can order it.
Can I have
Or
that?
Did you already talk about the link?
We did
No,
not.
we'll put it in.
We're going to put the link in, but also follow Natalie on Instagram. Natalie, it's still her old name. Is it still your old name?
I'm trying to get it changed.
Natalie Workman.
At Natalie Workman
On
and we'll
Instagram.
put out the release.
That's
The book
right.
is going to be amazing. So many of your stories, your success stories are featured in it.
Oh, there it is. CardoneVentures.com/teamwork. You can pre-register right now.
Pre-register for the book. Let's do it. Everybody on here, 376 people. Come on.
Pre-register
I
that
will
book.
personally pick 3 people that pre-register for that book and do
Wow.
something remarkable for you. But if you're not in the list, if you didn't pre-register, I can't do it.
She does give good gifts. I'm just
Oh,
gonna throw
yeah.
that out there.
Yeah.
I would know from personal experience.
Yep.
You might be pleasantly surprised.
You might get the copy of that book, open it up, and have equity in Cardone Ventures. How about that? That might happen.
You get it. You get it.
And
I
you.
know.
All right. Bye,
Bye,
Natalie.
babe.
Bye.
So look, we got somebody else to raise their hand. Let's bring them in.
Yeah, let's go with, hey guys, turn your camera on. If you have your hand up,
If you got your hand up and you want to ask a question, you got to have your camera
let's
on.
go to Dr. G since his camera's
Dr.
on.
G.
Dana.
Dr. G, the man that he wants to hire a CFO, but I'm not going to call you out.
Uh-oh, don't call him out.
Hey,
There we go.
I didn't mean. I
Cooper
didn't
and
actually
Dana,
mean
put your camera
CFO. I just meant somebody to handle the finances. That's what I meant. That was the quickest thing I
There
could type.
you go. There you go.
But that is also why I am here listening to you, so I know what I'm talking about. I got my daughter with me tonight. I'm going to be platforming in a couple days. What the question I had? She goes, "What would you ask him?" I said, "I would ask him how I could compress time in growing, because now that I have an understanding of the systems, now I just want to get big."
Yeah, so it's a great question. Thank you for asking on behalf of your daughter. She looks great there. So here's the thing: you can only compress time by amplifying the number of people helping you.
Yep.
Because the only way to multiply opportunity is to multiply people. So to amplify your opportunity, to make it bigger, you need to multiply people to go after it. And if you don't have your process in place and you don't have your system in place, then you can't have people succeed easy. So what happens is you hire a couple people and then whatever you're doing doesn't work and it bogs down. And now you're off target because you're like, what went wrong? I got to fix everything. Or I can't hire any good people because your target wasn't big enough that you hired higher quality people. So what you have to do when you're thinking of expansion is the only way to expand is through people. I've never, ever met anybody that went through expansion that did it without people. Now you might say, You might say, well, but what about a technology company? I have never really seen a technology company get massive if it only had one person doing the coding. So every business needs people. And the more people you have, the more expansion you have, which means you got to get your process, your 4 Ps, your 3 Ps. You got to get your promotion down right. You got to get your profit centers down right. You need to get the process. When you promote, here's how we generate a profit, and then you add people. And that's how you multiply your business. And so the equation to speed, attack speed, which is removing time from where you're at to what the opportunity is, the only way to do that is through more people.
Does that help, Dr. G?
It helped a ton, man. I appreciate it. I mean, I know partnership is something I'm always looking at, but maybe we'll talk about that this weekend.
Love it. Hey, Dr. G, we're going to see you for a platform review delivery soon, right?
Yeah, that's this weekend, this Thursday, Friday, man.
That's right.
We'll
Yeah, and you know what? You're going to see how, within 3 locations, I'll bet you're going to be able to do somewhere between 12 and $25 million. So that's expansion.
It's huge.
You go get that first, and then you get the next 6. So you have 9, and at 9, you're doing 50, 60, 70 million bucks.
Love it.
That's the plan.
Dr.
3 years.
G. Have a great night, Dr. G. We'll see you soon. Hey, real quick, if you've received any value tonight at all, even an ounce of value, you've taken a note, you feel inspired, it's giving you more energy, I want you to take 2 seconds, grab your phone. There you go. You already know what's up. Get the camera out. I want you to this is the trade, okay? I want you to talk about the remarkable experience you're having. I want you to make a video, take a picture, and get Mr. Brandon Dawson on Instagram at Brandon M as in money Dawson. Brandon M Dawson on Instagram. There he is. He's got the 10X going for you. Take the photo, do the video. I want you to share it. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever it is. Just blow it up. Blow it up. Show them some love, and talk about. But don't just talk about Brandon. Talk about what you learned.
What you learned. Yeah. Promote yourself, and the way you do that is by expanding your knowledge, painting a big picture. So the way I would do it is, hey, I just learned the art of growing my business by 3 to 10X next year. Do you want to join me?
And that's going to attract people.
Nobody wants to work any place that's boring, that's not going anywhere, that has no vision. You want to get people excited, talk about the big thing you're going to build, and have that energy injected into the organization. And when you're struggling, because you're like, okay, now I've got people, but I'm struggling. Now you got to get creative. You got to hone in your skill set. That's why we have all these programs to teach you how to do this. So you're not winging it. Fastest way to success is duplicating success.
Let's go to Dana. Dana's been waiting patiently. It looks
Hey,
like
Dana.
She's got a big question tonight. I just know it. It's
Very,
just
very
burning a
patiently.
Thank
you so much,
Dana,
guys.
welcome to Owners Live.
Appreciate it. So I recently did the 360 in September. So one of my greatest takeaways was about the 3-step interview process. So I implemented that, got great people. So now my next step is getting great results for the targets that I've set for my team. So basically what I want to know is, what do I use to measure? Do I use time frame for the targets that I've set, or stick with the KPIs? Like, how long do I give these great people to hit the targets before I start new?
Yeah, so that is a great question. So you recognize effort. Everyone write this down, a little cheat here.
Big note.
You recognize effort, you reward results.
Right.
So you never take your eye off the targets, but you have to work with people to show them how to hit the targets.
Yep.
So what you have to do, Dane, is you got to get in there and work with them and grind through it. Don't lower your targets, and you compensate and reward off targets. You recognize the effort. You recognize the grind. You recognize all the elements involved with driving towards targets. Now, at some point, if you realize you set your targets so big they're unreasonable, so what you do is you tell the team, look, as long as everyone's grinding, as long as we're fighting to win, as long as we're training every day, as long as we're pushing to be remarkable at everything we do, and then I'll evaluate every quarter And if the targets are too high or unreasonable, I am okay reducing the targets and putting them into increments because maybe I set them too high. But the only way that you determine that is if everyone's full speed, grinding it out, as soon as one person hits any one of those targets. So if I have 90-day targets, I'm going to reverse those down to daily targets. So if my goal in 90 days, let's just say that my goal, what would be a 90-day goal for you, Dana?
I guess let me divide 5 million. That's our current annual goal right now. So if I
It'd
were
be
to
1.25 million in 90 days, $350,000 or $400,000 a month, $433,000 a month.
Mhm.
Yeah, 412,000, whatever.
That's the target.
Okay, so that's your monthly target. So what are you doing right now?
1 million.
A month or a
No,
year?
a year annually. Sorry.
Okay, so look, I'm just telling everybody to go from 1 million to 1.2 million a month. Okay, so you got to think about this. Is that reasonable to do it in one quarter? So if your target is to be 5 million in revenue, then you need to stage it. If you're currently doing, because right now you're doing 90,000 or 85,000 a month. So you're talking about going from 85,000 a month to 450,000 or 400,000 a month. It's still a 4x, 4.5x. So you need to pull your targets down and say, we're currently doing 85,000 a month. Target one is 125 or 150,000 a month in the next 90 days. Target two is 225 to 250,000 a month in the next 6 months. Because what you're doing is if you cannot go from, unless you 10x everything, you can't go from 85,000 straight to 500,000. You got to stage it. Does that make sense?
Yes. So we recently added our website because we do have physical locations in the Bahamas. That's where I live. So we recently adding our website. So now we're able to basically access the whole world. So that was the factor that I added to basically get such a high number.
Yeah, I understand that. But let me tell you, what is the best month of revenue you've ever done in the business?
December is around like 500,000.
You did $500,000 in 1 month?
No, I'm sorry. I thought you were saying our best month in total. Can you repeat the question?
This year, what was your biggest revenue month?
Oh, this year, our biggest revenue month was around 98,000.
Okay,
December
so
is
you need
usually
to
the
take
biggest.
that. Yeah, so you need to take that times 12. You need to add 50% growth on it, and your target for 2022 should be $1.5 million. And then next year your target, you take your biggest month, times it by 12, add your growth rate on it, and that should be your target for next year. It's very difficult to go from 1 to 5x with a brand new team. Now, when you're 5 million, you can go from 5 to 10 fast, but to go from 1 to 5 fast, because you got to get through break point 1, and there's a whole bunch of technical stuff that you need to do. If you're under 3 million in revenue, if you're between $100,000 or 1 million and 3 million. So if you're between 1 and 3, just put 3. If you're under 3, put 3 in the chat.
Under 3. Yep.
Okay, if you're under 10, put 10 in the chat. So that means you're over 3, under 10. So look, what you have to do at 0 to 3 million is entirely different from 3 to 8.
That's right.
The skill set needed. So the reason I tell you this is that if you did $1 million, you should set a target of trying to get to 2.5 to 3 million, because you can manage that with a handful of people if your system works. To go from 3 to 8 million, you're going to have to develop process and leaders that fundamentally understand the business with you. And you got to develop those people and those processes to go from 8 to 15, or you're going to find yourself in trouble. So sometimes going a little slower early on to build momentum is very important. It's actually technically easier to go from 8 million to 25 million than it is to go from 1 million to 3 million.
Such a bombshell. Dana, thank you for a great question tonight.
Yeah.
Epi, last question. We're going to have you do it 60 seconds or less. What's your question tonight on 10X Owners Live? So many good notes, by the way. Hope you guys are writing all these down.
Hey,
go for it.
Hey, thank you so much
What's the last question?
Your last question is like, how do you get yourself up when you're like against some challenges? Like, you know, you have some, as a leader, you have some days that you just don't want to get up.
Yeah, you know, dude, look, I've been there a couple different times in my career, right? And it's so hard. That's where fortitude comes in. That's where having a big picture for yourself and really dissecting what worked well in your previous attempts. Where did you struggle, and what do you need to shore up that caused you to have a break? And I talk about break points. You know, I don't spend a lot of time on personal break points unless you're on my team, because my job, if you're on my team or if you're one of my clients, like many of you that are on here, I'm obligated and responsible. I'm not obligated negatively. I'm responsible, which obligates me to help you find your way to get to the next level of success. If you're directly working in our organization, it's my job to keep you in that game. And anybody that works for me that's watching this is saying, I know exactly what he's talking about. Because here's the thing. To scale and grow your business, you have to first scale and grow yourself. And in order to increase your personal, professional, and financial success, you have to first increase your personal, professional, and financial awareness and self. And so what happens is we as humans, when we stretch to a place where we're highly uncomfortable, pushes us into insecurity. Then insecurity pushes us to fear. The natural inclination is for the brain to rationalize, justify, and fortify. And what that does is it brings us back to a place where we're in control, or so we think we are.
It's a defense mechanism.
It's a natural defense mechanism. And so it's that retreat. So it's the fight, flight, or freeze. And it happens to us at different points in time for different reasons. And if you built a little 9-box, scoring, it'd be personally, professionally, financially. So it can happen in any of those categories as well. So as you increase intensity, you increase the potential for any one of those areas of your life to feel out of disruption, and then you'll claw yourself back to mediocrity. Mm-hmm. And when I see that with somebody I'm working with, I have to very gently put them back together. It's like a Rubik's Cube, because in that moment, they don't see that. They don't understand it. Yeah. They feel like they have to move away from something. So when you ask that question, what I would tell you is you have to learn to remove yourself. So now this is the thing. Your present self is made up of all of your past self experiences, or those experiences projected onto you by others. Mm-hmm. And almost always it's around the failures. So the natural inclination when all of a sudden you feel like something's out of control, to maintain control, is to step back and be like, I don't need that, or it's not my fault, or come up with a justification because your brain's fortifying. So here's what you do. You have to step outside yourself and go, oh, that's all the broken mechanisms inside of me. What do I want my future self to look like? And in your present moment, you have to disconnect your past self from your present moment. And you do that by entirely converting all that thinking into, if you could paint your ideal present self or future self scene 10,000 feet up here, what would it look like? What would it feel like?
How would you behave?
What would it smell like? What would you even think of you thinking about what you're thinking about before you separated yourself in your present moment from all your past self thoughts?
And it wouldn't be anything from the past.
And you would be like, why? That's so ridiculous that I would even be thinking that way or doing those things or feeling that way, because look where I'm at today. And you have to get yourself up here and you have to say, 10 years from now, what would I be saying about this moment? And what you'd be saying if you were here is, how ridiculous was I in my small thinking or my small doing or my fragile state of mind? How crazy is that when I look where I'm at right here? And you have to transport yourself to that future self, because you have to smell it. You have to visualize it. You have to live it for a half hour up here. And then you come back down and go, okay, if that's really who I'm going to be, then I gotta disregard all that junk right now from my past.
Right.
And I have to find the examples that will take me here and find the commitment. And then you can appreciate all your struggle, because it's teaching you this up here to think different, because until you think different, your doing doesn't change.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then you have to own it. And can I tell you something? It can accelerate so fast. And instead of being frustrated as you're accelerating that you're not where you should be, or you're not where you could be, or you made all those mistakes, you have to have gratitude and appreciation for the little movements you keep making towards that bigger picture. And then all of a sudden, one day you're going to wake up and go, wow, I freaking did it. And you're going to have a majority of the people that you associated with down here saying you got lucky, you were so fortunate. And you'll be like, no wonder I disconnected from all that garbage. And some, unfortunately, I'll be honest with you, could be family members.
Yep.
I have family that I adore, I love, but I had to entirely disconnect from their, and I use this gently, but their perverted view of the world, because it was holding me back.
Yeah.
And my reality today is entirely different than their reality then and now, because I refuse to accept that. And that's where resilience and fortitude and learning to control the one gift that we all have. And you know, there's so many remarkable human beings that have been in such oppressive environments that have created legacy results and stories in their lifetime, that when you go to them and you look at them and you're like, I cannot believe those people created that. Now, like them or not like them, you know, when I talk about this, I look at Donald Trump, and people are like, oh, I hated Donald Trump. That's fine, but you got to respect the fact that the dude figured out how to become president. Conversely, I look at Obama. Maybe I wasn't a big Obama fan, but you cannot take away from him what he created in his lifetime and how evolved and communicative and all the brilliance of him to become the president of one of the biggest, most powerful countries in the whole world during his lifetime. Those are achievements. You got the dichotomy of two human beings, love them and like them, love them, hate them, I don't give a shit. But both of them somehow managed to find themselves in that position.
They did not live in their past.
And that the only way either of those two human beings could have done that is if they disconnected from whatever other people were trying to oppress them to be.
Yeah.
And they made, is that
Actually,
helpful?
you're making a very good point here, because when I was reading Donald Trump's book, one of the books, he said, you got to envision yourself what that future, like what you just said yourself. So you got to trick your mind to move that future in order for you to overcome those challenges. Because he was talking one of those challenges he had before during the real estate crash.
And if you, trust me, if you go and look at any of the brilliant, successful people that have accomplished something massive, Oprah, you go through the list, Michael Jordan, you've got Jeff Bezos, the quarterback for Tampa Bay, that Tom Brady. I mean, look at these people that did these unbelievable, remarkable things, and then compare them to the people who didn't. You're like, what made them so unique? And it has to be tenacity, resilience, that's right, mindset, commitment. Michael Phelps, like when you add all this stuff up and you study all those people and you see their unbelievable contribution to this world, and there's a whole litany of people I haven't even mentioned. Yeah. And the unique ability to execute to get to the level they got to. Yep. You have to appreciate, despite if you like those people or not, or what they stand for, you still have to appreciate what it takes to get there.
So let me ask you a question. Does your future self, everyone think of your future self, does your future self need to attend the one-day Perfect Summit higher? That's the question. Does your future self need to be there? I mean, literally, that's the question.
You can't move to a picture you don't know what the picture is. And you can't get other people to move to a picture that you can't describe the picture.
That's right. Bryce, put the QR code up one more time. This is your last opportunity to join.
I like how you segued into that. And you cut me off because I'm over time.
You're way over time. But honestly, tomorrow is the first day training. So does your future self attend the first week of training? Or are you going to delay and watch a recording because you found out 3 weeks later you should have started back when it started 3 weeks before? Do you start tomorrow and join us on the 4-week training? And do you come in person and join Brandon and listen to more of this with Natalie Dawson, Brandon Dawson, and Adventure December 12th? Scan the QR code. Go to
Grant's going to be there.
/hire.
I'm going to bring some special guests. Look, we might have 100 people there. We might have 1,000 people there. But we're going to be there.
We will be there.
And why do we show up? We show up to help you guys figure this out.
That's right.
So listen, I really, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you guys dedicating your Tuesday nights to us. We love this show.
Love you guys.
We appreciate you. All the best to each and every one of you. Can't wait to see you when we see you.
That's
and
right.
And God bless, and we'll see you next week.
See you guys.
The whole purpose of this show is to engage with business owners and be able to answer questions for people that will give them some insight and perspective on how to grow and scale a business. Not only leadership, but real life examples. This is the golden moment. I would do business with you right now.